Hello and welcome one and all to the Huntsman World Senior Games Timeout Celebration. My name is Kyle Case and I have the distinct pleasure of serving as the Chief Executive Officer of the Huntsman World Senior Games. Wow, just a year ago, who would have predicted that we'd be where we are today? COVID-19 has wrought havoc on so much that we might have previously taken for granted. Grandparents have missed their grandkids. Rites of passage for students like graduation and prom have been canceled or postponed or presented in unfamiliar ways. Sporting competitions and presentations of the arts have been canceled. Health and wellness has been jeopardized. Weddings and funerals have been limited. And even the simple pleasure of a good firm handshake or a warm embrace has all but disappeared from our daily lives. And yet, even in the midst of the hard times, and we've had hard times, if you look, there's still plenty to give us hope. Neighbors leaving a much-needed bag of groceries on a doorstep. Restaurants sharing their favorite recipes so diners can make them at home. A bucket of baseballs left by one grandfather at a local batting cage in the hopes that they could bring the same joy he felt with his own son and grandson. A 5-year-old sharing his best little green friend with California firefighters who could use a little of the force to be with them. A superhero with cancer, giving hope to heroes in training even as he fights his own losing battle. And the list goes on and on. Many of you have been beneficiaries of such sublime acts of kindness, and many of you have been benefactors of the same. In a world that sometimes feels divided, there is still so much more that connects us, and that gives us hope. And nowhere is that hope more strongly displayed than in the youth, those young in years as well as those young in heart, which really includes all of us, doesn't it? In fact, if I could paraphrase Rod Stewart, be courageous and be brave, and in your heart you'll always stay forever young.
Sunshine
Putting on an event like the World Senior Games is a team sport. It takes a lot of people, each one doing his or her own part to make it happen. We're very grateful for willing and engaged sponsors like Intermountain Healthcare, without whom tonight's celebration wouldn't be possible.
How would you define healthcare at Dixie Regional Medical Center?
We're doing innovative things here to help people live the healthiest lives possible. Our respiratory outpatient clinic is the only one of its kind in the state of Utah. This cutting-edge clinic helps people treat their COPD so they can stay out of the ER.
The respiratory outpatient clinic here in St. George helps those patients with COPD, which makes it difficult for them to breathe. Allows them to have another place to go outside of the ER with a referral from their physician. It gives them a place where they can get the treatment that they need to live the healthiest life possible.
We actively work in our Live Well Center to keep you out of the hospital by tailoring exercise, diet, and other healthy lifestyle programs to your personal needs. Cancer patients in our community have never had stronger treatment options.
We are doing really innovative things to treat and cure patients' cancers. We're using cutting-edge DNA mapping technologies to sequence the DNA from a patient's tumor and find new treatment options. We're finding that this approach can increase a patient's life and improve their outcomes, and they just feel better.
People often compliment us for the beautiful buildings on our hospital campus. And while we're grateful for them, it's the caregivers inside these buildings that are changing our patients' lives for good every day.
Thank you to Intermountain Healthcare. Several weeks ago on our weekly podcast, The Active Life, my co-host Lil Barron and I had the opportunity to visit with an incredible athlete. She was such an inspiration that once the show was over, I looked at Lil and I said, we've got to have her speak at our Timeout Celebration. I reached out to Laurie Meschishnick and she was gracious enough to accept. Laurie grew up on a farm in Canada and played every sport offered so that her school could have a team. She settled into running and yoga as an adult for a while. However, from the first time that she walked into a CrossFit gym, she felt like she had found her home. Since her CrossFit start in 2010, Laurie has competed in the CrossFit Games 7 times and has made the podium 4 times. In 2019, she won the CrossFit Games in August, and that same month, she set 2 world records at the Masters World Weightlifting Championships in her age and weight category. And on top of that, and there's more besides, Laurie is listed in the #1 position of the fittest 50 over 50. Now, not only has she graciously agreed to share some of her story and insights on competition and overcoming adversity, she's also agreed to answer a few of your questions once she is done. So if you have a question for Laurie, type it into the chat box, and we'll try to get to a few at the end of her presentation. Laurie, welcome.
Hi, Kyle.
Hey, it's so good. It's so good to see you.
Oh, thank you.
I have a question, and I just have to ask. Today we hit 95 degrees Fahrenheit here in St. George, Utah. I'm wondering what the weather's like there in Canada.
It was not 95 degrees Fahrenheit, that's for sure. But it was a beautiful day. We walked downtown, and it was very sunny. I would say, it was at least 65 degrees Fahrenheit. But it did rain and get very cold here as well. So it's not so bad.
So a nice fall day, it sounds like.
Yeah, beautiful.
Well, Laurie, what an incredible resume. I've got just nothing but the utmost respect for CrossFitters, and you've been able to perform at just the highest level in that area, in that arena. And on top of that, a couple of world records to your name in Olympic weightlifting. Just amazing, absolutely amazing. We can't wait to get to hear your message. And so, ladies and gentlemen, Laurie Meschishnick.
Oh, wow. Thanks, Kyle. That was an amazing intro. I just love watching all of that. I really can't wait to attend the World Senior Games one year and compete there in one of the events. It looks like it's going to be great fun. So I'm looking forward to that in the future. And yeah, my story. Well, you talked a little bit about it growing up on a farm and being always very active. And, you leave high school and you go to university or you start work. And what do you do with your life when you don't have team sports? And you can get involved in team sports, but I never did. Like you said, I ran and did yoga, fairly solitary sports. And it was interesting how it happened. It was my neighbor was partner at a CrossFit gym, and I knew nothing about CrossFit. But my middle son, when he finished playing college basketball, decided he would go try CrossFit. And all I knew was that if I showed up at the same time as he did at the gym, I could work out for an hour with him because it was an hour class and you all did the same thing. That's what I knew about CrossFit. So that was my start. And eventually, all of my 3 kids tried CrossFit. Some of them still CrossFit, but they eventually all moved or left that gym, and I stayed. I loved it. Like you say, I walked in and found something that really fit for me. And if that is something that I can tell, like you say, you really admire what we do as CrossFit athletes, but we just love doing it. So it really doesn't seem like something so special to us. But I always say, just find something that you love. It doesn't matter what you do to stay active, but it is very, very important. And you'll hear about why in my story. I truly believe being active is such an important part of just even our total history as human beings, right? To be active. So like you say, 2010 was when I walked into the gym. And my first experience then with the CrossFit Games was in 2011. And I remember just going to the gym. Like I say, I loved it. One day the coach said to me, he said, Laurie, how many times have you been here in a row? And I didn't know. So he told me to stay home and take a day off and take a rest day. So I had to learn a little bit about that, which was good. And just went and loved it, enjoyed it. And in 2011, we did something called the Open, or this qualifier for something called the CrossFit Games. And we finished, and one of my friends at the gym said, Laurie, you qualified to go to the CrossFit Games. And I said, that's cool. What are the CrossFit Games? And so they started to explain to me what this would be like and how that would happen. And the CrossFit Games would always take place the August long weekend. So that end of July and then into that August long weekend would be the CrossFit Games. And so a number of coaches from the gym packed up with me, and off we went to California for the first CrossFit Games. We actually worked out, it was at the Home Depot Center, which is an amazing facility. But the Masters, they had a parking lot where they fenced it off and turned it into our competition arena. It was really cool. Like, those of us who were back at that CrossFit Games, and we still see each other, we laugh about that, but we had a lot of fun in our little space at that time. They kind of kept us separated from everything else that was going on. But we love that little parking lot and working out in it. And that was 2011, my first trip to the games. And I set some goals to go to my first trip to the games. And one was to come in the top 5. And then hopefully have a workout that kind of suited me and that maybe I could win one workout. And so it was pretty cool that year. I won the first workout by 2 seconds, so my name was on the top of the leaderboard for that one day. But I ended up actually that year getting silver, which was really cool. Just such a cool experience. And, again, I guess I found out competition is in my DNA. And like I say, when it's knit into you, you just love it. You just look forward to it. And I mean, at times I looked at that and I said, what am I doing here? Right. But you get put onto the start line and there's a 3, 2, 1, go, and off you go. So I survived and ended up with a silver medal, and came home back to the gym, and back you go into what happens, which is then CrossFit really developed into quite a season back then. And, we were then in an off season at the games, and then we'd go through again qualifying when it would be coming up to the competition season. Then in 2012, it was right around that time I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. So it was very interesting how this, and that was, I guess, back I was like 47, 46, 47. And it really hit my body very, very hard, like all over. Didn't know what was happening. And you start then the gamut of testing, and of course, they put you on some drugs to try and start controlling the pain. And, I had a very hard time doing really anything at that time until we got it under control. And we did get it under control, and I, went back to the gym. So 2012, I qualified to go back to the games, didn't podium that year. And then just like some odd sequence of events that happened. My rheumatologist passed away, and I didn't find another rheumatologist. And I had this strange idea that I was going to control my disease with my diet and a good lifestyle. And I can't tell you how important that is, because I truly believe so many things can be taken care of by leading an active lifestyle. Just watching your diet a little bit, right? There are lots of great things out there. Like, when it comes to diet, it's an interesting subject for so many people, but just to learn a little bit about it and eat as well as you possibly can, but to be active. It takes care of so many things that happen in our body. Physically, physiologically, but I even now how we don't get to hug people anymore or handshakes or things like that, but working out gives you that really happy feeling of wanting to be around people. So it's a good thing. It's a good thing. And so what happened, because I wasn't being followed by a rheumatologist, my arthritis got out of control. And then as I aged up a little bit, got a little bit older, it actually got a little bit worse. So then 2013, I missed qualifying to the games by one place. So I didn't even go to the games in 2013. 2014, I chose not to actually go through the qualifiers. And that was a year for me then of transitioning back into the medical care of rheumatologist. And again, so grateful. I found a rheumatologist who told me, she said, I'm not letting you leave my office until you agree to take a drug. And, she said, you're too young to be in a situation like you are, and we can make you better. Right. And so it was great to have someone actually to support you like that, and step into that place of trust with them. And she did a great job. She got me on some drugs for my arthritis. I still believe eating well and being active really adds to enhancing what a drug can do for you. So again, I really encourage people to get out there. And people often ask me, do you really think it's good for you to do what you do with your rheumatoid arthritis? And is it good for your joints? And I always tell people, I'd be in a much more difficult situation physically if I wasn't active. It's very good for me to be active. And again, I believe that for everybody. So this rheumatologist, thankfully, really got me back on track, got me back into the gym so that I could do CrossFit again. And so then we were 2015, and that was after my 2-year hiatus being off. Went back in 2015 and got third. I got a bronze medal. Now, many people who know me, understand that, like, even though I got that silver medal my very first year there, I was just a little ticked off that it wasn't a gold medal, right? So I'm a little bit competitive. That is also something knit into our DNA, right? And like I have a bit of a story about that too, and it's really coming to accept who you are, right? And just embrace it and run with it, So, but that 2015, after going back from being away and winning a bronze medal, that was like a gold medal to me. It actually, told me that I was meant to be there and competing. I could do it, right? I was good enough to be there. So there's always something about that, right? Our mindsets and thinking about where do we belong and what should we be doing? And really, are we capable of doing what other people think we are. If we only believed what other people thought about us, right? But that year, 2015, was kind of cool, winning that bronze medal after being away for 2 years. And then back we go again after those games. 2016 went to the games. 2017 went to the games. Did not podium. And so another, lesson about that for me is like, I'm always amazed at how the universe, or, divine intelligence, whatever you like to call that power, that when there is a lesson that belongs to you, it will not let you not learn it. And it will continue to present the lesson to you as often and in as many different ways as you need to learn it. And so I had some learning to do in 2016, 2017 around, again, just understanding why I compete. Why did I get to qualify to the CrossFit Games, and why was that? And I often said, what does it matter? Like, who are we really helping by doing what we do, right? Or me, who am I really helping by doing what I'm doing? And so I came to understand some things. Is that, you know what, if you have something that's always knocking inside of you to be let out, like it's saying, hey, I'm here and you need to pay attention to me. You need to really pay attention to that. And for me, it was athletics, and it was my ability to compete and do well at it, be good at it. And I started learning people. I would get messages from people that I didn't know saying, thanks for what you do. You're very inspiring. And I, would look at that and sometimes not pay attention to it. But I had to start paying attention that what I did helped other people. If it helped one person get off the couch and be more active, I'm doing a good thing, right, in our world, right? And so I came to terms with that. And, again, I think if I can say, just embrace your gifts. We've all got something that nobody else in the world can do like we do it. Everybody has something like that. And it's always knocking and asking to be let out, right? And so I had to accept that about me and my athletics and being a CrossFit athlete. And so I did some work around that personally, and I went back in 2018 to the CrossFit Games again, and a different athlete in understanding why I was given these gifts and to do what I did. And then 2018, I got a silver medal. Now I was very happy with the silver medal because I went a completely different athlete, as I had made some adjustments, and it wasn't adjustments for myself physically. I didn't have to be any fitter, right? I had to align my mental fitness with my physical fitness and bring them together and be a more whole and complete athlete is what had to happen. And that happened in 2018. And then even though I got a silver medal, I was super happy. But I got that medal, I put it away, and I was ready to get back training and go back again in 2019 because I hadn't quite finished the puzzle. And I needed to bring a few things together, like around some skills. So there were actually some physical skills that I needed. CrossFit's kind of cool. Like if you think about CrossFit, it's this combination of gymnastics, track and field, and the sport of Olympic weightlifting. They take all those three sports and put them together into CrossFit. And we do like all of these different things. So you have a lot of different skills that you get to develop, which is one of the reasons I love it, because you're never done. Like you're never finished learning. You can always keep going. So that's really cool about it. And at this point, I'll jump in to say, CrossFit can be for everybody. Everybody starts somewhere. Every movement can be scalable. So if you've ever thought that CrossFit looks kind of cool, but I could never do it, you just have to go to a gym, and hopefully you get to a gym where they do have good coaches, and they will take care of you. Everybody can do CrossFit. I couldn't do any of this stuff when I started. I couldn't even actually imagine doing some of the stuff that I do now, right? So it's kind of cool how we can learn and our bodies can adapt and change. It's amazing, in fact. So try it out. You should try it out. But I came back, I put some of the pieces together, and I went back in 2019, and I finally won a gold medal. So it was lots of fun. And then in 2020, I qualified to go back to the games. That would have been my 8th time back to the games, but as Kyle so eloquently talked about COVID at the beginning here, how it's changed our lives. And we've had some online competitions and things like that. Even the CrossFit Games this year for the individual athletes is much different. They're taking 5 men and 5 women that went through online qualifications. But there was nothing for masters or teams this year for the CrossFit Games, but that's okay. I also like to, again, I hope I've let you know that I love competing, but being fit and exercising does so much more for me. It adds so much more to my life than just the competing part, but I love that part, right? So I'd never stop training because there's so much more that comes to me from what I do besides the training. And I never wake up a day without being grateful that I can get out of bed pretty much pain-free, right? Very grateful for what I'm able to do. Yeah. So I hope we get to go back to the CrossFit Games. I'd certainly like to go again and compete. The really cool thing, like I think that happens at the Huntsman World Games, which is you must have friends that you've met. If any of you have been there many times, you meet people that you see every year. And that happens at the CrossFit Games in our age division and like out of our age division and people from all over the world then that come together. And so I certainly, would love to go back and get to be around some of these amazing athletes that I would compete with at the CrossFit Games.
Well, for sure. And we are all hoping that not only that you get to go back, but that we all get to go back. We've missed it. We've missed it. But Laurie, what a great story. I love so many things that you brought up there. In particular, that concept of we all have lessons that we need to learn. We all have something that the universe is trying to teach us. And we need to just embrace that idea and that concept and learn it because it's not going to let us stop until we do. I love that message there. We actually do have a couple of questions, Laurie, if that's okay, if you're willing to answer a couple.
Okay.
They're not too hard. They're not too hard. The first one is from Laurie, and she says, being a female athlete, is all the upper body work really difficult? And we know that in CrossFit, if you've ever seen a CrossFit competition, there is quite a bit of upper body. So how do you work that out as a female athlete?
You know what? When you start where you're at. And the really amazing thing about CrossFit is it would not actually be divided necessarily into upper body and lower body. We do a lot of whole body things all the time, although there are some specific things that we break to learn a movement. We break them up into its components, right? So for example, the Olympic lifts, like one of the Olympic lifts is it's called a snatch, and that's taking the bar from the ground to overhead in one movement, right? So like it's whole body, everything is happening at the same time, but we take that movement and we do break it up into pulling the bar off the floor, which is called a deadlift, being able to put the bar overhead, which is called a press. So in like the cool thing about CrossFit is that it works through these things with such variety. You never really notice what's happening. And before you know it, you're just that much fitter and that much stronger all over the place. But everybody who comes in certainly has, areas of strengths and areas of weakness. But the cool thing about CrossFit is it generally closes the gap for everybody if they just do it consistently. I never, I certainly know when I got to CrossFit, I couldn't do a pull-up. The very first day I got an intro, this coach asked me if I could do a pull-up, and I couldn't do like what we would just call, hanging from the bar and do a pull-up. But I don't know, it didn't take long, and I didn't do thousands of them, but we did so many other things that helped develop, the muscles in different ways that you can do that. Before I knew it, I was doing a pull-up. So It was really cool. It's such a cool progression.
That is cool, and a great clarification there. You're right. CrossFit really is a full body thing, and that's what makes it so great. We had another question from Jim. He's wondering about your diet. Do you eat a lot of protein, or is it protein heavy, or how do you eat well to compete at that level?
This is a good question. Thanks for asking that, Jim. You know what? I eat a lot. I just eat a lot. And I actually, I get followed by one of my friends. His name is Dr. Mark Morris, and he runs Polyhealth Nutrition. And, the interesting thing about diet is there is so much information out there. We can all be experts, right? But when you really then talk to somebody who's actually studied it and done all the research and has a good background in it, then the myths are debunked and what some of the things that you're doing were right and things like that. So I did have to learn that. And I had to eat more to actually support my training. And the cool thing about diet is it's so yes, it's the fuel in our body, but the recovery piece that happens because of diet is so important. So I don't right now, it's more important for me to eat well to recover, because I want to be able to get back into the gym and be training. And if I don't take care of that none of those things fall into place. I'm more sore. I don't feel as good working out. So diet plays such an important role. And my diet, I would say, is it's quite normal now. Because of my rheumatoid arthritis, I avoid a lot of inflammatory foods. So I do eat protein. I wouldn't say that I eat a lot of protein. I eat a normal amount of protein. Unfortunately, it would seem like a lot of protein for some people,
Right.
but it really is a normal amount of protein. But and you asked specifically about protein, so I just know protein is really specific to how much you do exercise. So because I do a lot of exercise, I may eat more than the person who doesn't. But I also eat I eat a lot of rice. I would say I eat a lot of rice. I do stay away from grains because that's very inflammatory causing for my joints. So I do have to stay away from that. But I love, if I have to eat some grains and things, I keep it for pie. I love pie. So I do eat pie. But yeah, I have a fairly, what people would call a pretty clean diet of whole foods, like vegetables, some berries, all kinds of protein, and some starchy carbs, right? But it's a cool thing to dive into, especially if you want to be an athlete and do some competing at any level. Diet is huge. Honestly, this is the formula that I believe. It's 10% what I inherited from my parents, and I love them for what they gave me. It's 10% exercise, and the other 80% is diet, right? That makes a really healthy body.
Yeah, I love it. It sounds like you eat to compete, but you also eat to recover and just incorporate it into your whole entire lifestyle. Two more questions, if we could. The first one is from Derek, and he must be a CrossFitter, because he asks, what is your favorite WOD or workout of the day?
Yeah. Okay, so Kyle, a WOD, W-O-D, is workout of the day. Who asked this?
This is
Derek?
Derek.
It was Derek?
Yes.
Yeah, Derek, I love Fight Gone Bad or Filthy 50. So I'm I have one of those, the longer the workout is, the better I am. So Fran took me forever to learn to love, right? Fran took me forever. But yeah, Filthy 50 or Fight Gone Bad. Yeah. Here's a little secret. This is, I don't know if I should say this, Kyle, but I'm going to say it because it's kind of cute. So Filthy 50, no, sorry, it's Fight Gone Bad. You get a score. And I started to say at the gym, look, if you would like to take me out for coffee or tea, you need to have a higher score than I have in Fight Gone Bad. So that was the deal.
There's motivation right there, right? For sure. So the last question that we have time for, and thank you so much for being willing to answer these questions and sharing your experiences with us. It's from T Moon, and it's kind of a two-part question, but it's related. T Moon says, how do you approach days when your performance is not what you'd hoped for, and how did you prepare yourself mentally to achieve your gold medal?
Yeah. Who asked this again?
This
Kyle?
is T Moon.
Okay. So how do I approach days when I don't feel so mentally strong was the first part, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. Yes, that happens. That happens, and it is really important to listen to your body. And some days it would mean instead of during a workout going 80%, you go 60%, and that just means you're moving slower. Maybe you take a little weight off the bar, right? But you still move, right? And I think that leads into the second part for me of how did I prepare myself mentally. And it was, my body is willing. It's my mind that gives up first, right? And so I needed to figure that out again in my mind. And how I really, really prepared myself mentally for things was that it was coming to terms with having been given a gift. And I can say, for me, the gift was that it was to show people how good God can be to us, and that we have these gifts. And for me, it was to compete to, right, inspire other people to do that. So when I understood that, it's always easy to go and do what I was meant to do, what I was gifted to do. It is easy to do it. But like you say, there are some days where I'm a little tired. And like I say, I just I back it off. But figuring out that other piece about why I was meant to do this, it was a game changer for me. It truly was.
Finding your why, that's always going to be important, right?
Yeah.
Laurie, once again, let me say thank you so much for joining us tonight for our Timeout celebration. If you enjoyed that, you can find more from Laurie on the Active Life podcast. It is episode number 297. That and other episodes are available wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on seniorgames.net. It's been an awesome night tonight. We want to express our thanks to Diamond Talent for tonight's socially distanced dance numbers, interspersed with memories from previous years. We appreciate the love and the dedication of Brian and Melinda Larson, who have choreographed and produced tonight's entertainment. We want to extend a special thank you to Miranda Jean Larson, who edited the video package as well as helped in the production. And we're also grateful to Marcus Farnsworth and the team at CEC who have handled the technical aspects of making this show available to watch tonight. Now, at the beginning of the night, I referred to the fountain of hope that we find in the youth. Preceding a look back at the lighting of the Huntsman World Senior Games cauldron, tonight's performers will share with you their letters of hope for the world. This year, our celebration looks a little different than it has in previous years. To commemorate that difference, after the fireworks, as a bonus feature, we wanted to pull back the curtain for a sneak peek behind the scenes and let you see just a little bit of what it takes to produce the opening ceremonies each year. We think you'll really enjoy it. As much as we wanted to, we couldn't be physically together tonight. But whether gathered under a beautiful sunset in St. George, Utah, USA, or huddled around our computer screens at home, my hope for each of us is that we won't forget what binds us together as athletes and fans of the Huntsman World Senior Games. And that glue is the vision that John Morgan had way back in 1987 when this whole thing began, and that was to foster worldwide peace, health, and friendship, all of which can still be done even during a global pandemic. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Have a wonderful evening.
Dear world, I wish for kindness and love from everyone.
I want the world to be kind, loving, happy, forgiving.
I want people to be loving, creative, kind, nice, and funny. And don't have fear of doing something you love. And make a better environment around us. Don't let anyone say you can or cannot do. I want the world to be positive, to make good dreams, to be grateful, to be kind, to be positive, to be them, not just copy other people.
I want love
kind and helpfulness, and I want you to be happy.
My letter means the world to me because I've felt happy before. I realized over the past few years that some people don't get to, and it's really sad. I just want people to get better, and if they're sick, I want them to get more healthy, and I just want everybody to feel what I felt before because of how much love I've gotten.
It's sick right now, and I hope it feels better because everyone needs to feel better.
I believe in you, and we can have a strong and healthy world by wearing masks and putting on as much hand sanitizer as we can.
So love everyone, never give up, and you can do it. Help each other.
Because I want our world to be a better place, and I want to live in a world where there's truly love everywhere and that no one takes anything for granted.
You need to be kind to black people. In previous years ago, black people became slaves, and the black people don't like to be saved. We need to change that in the whole entire world.
We shouldn't judge people by what we first see.
Everyone is equal, and we can all work together to make the world a better place.
Because I think that everybody should do what makes them happy, and they should be supported in what they do.
We can be kinder to the world. If we were kinder to ourselves, we wouldn't feel as insecure and doubt ourselves.
We can do this if we work together.
And I love you.
I think it's so important for the world right now to just all choose into kindness and to be kind to one another.
Creating a world where we all are so much kinder and respectful to each other. That's just what I want my world to be.
What I want from the world is for people to choose kindness, love, and forgiveness.
Acceptance and love and understanding of each other. And I think just recognizing that we all have our own individual strengths, and if we all come together, then we can create something beautiful.
We don't know other people's full background story, their full, deep individual story. So all we can do is support and give love because the world needs it right now.
I hope that we can find more peace together and find more unity all together, and that we will all be able to find ways to love one another.
I feel like we all get caught up in ourselves when there's other people that we could be looking out for. Then in the end, it helps us.
We're like a big family, and I know people are leaving and joining our family every second, but we still don't have to not love each other.
The only thing that we universally share as a human race is love, and that has to be our guide through every single decision we make.
So we need to know that we all are extraordinary.
You can be inspired in so many ways.
Be proud of what they do and just be grateful for everything.
We can wake up every morning and do what we love. And I think if we were more grateful, there would be a lot more joy in our world.
You can't stop at a low point in life because it'll always keep getting better, and it can just keep pushing through and keep working together as the world, keep working as unity. Then I know that the world will become a better place and will become healthier and stronger.
We only get one life, and if you just throw it away and don't go for what you really want, then what's the point?
This is our world. We have one opportunity. We don't get another Earth. We need to take care of it. I want to take care of it. So my grandkids can have grandkids, and they can have grandkids.
I want people to not be afraid to reach for their dreams and do what they wish they could. This whole year has been a very challenging year for me, but it has also been a year of growth. And I've learned that I want the world to be a good place, and I want to find where I belong in this world. And even though I'm scared or nervous that I won't find where I belong, I know that I will. I want this world to be a place that I can grow, and I want this world to be a place that I can learn who I am and find the people that I belong with.
We are on this earth for a reason.
We can get through this if we all just choose in and choose to love each other.
Just choose love.
All the world is loved. Care about every age and every generation and every country and accept our differences.
Share what we are passionate about with each other.
Just learning from each other and letting each other be.
I want to be there for you, and I hope you will be there for me. Thank you, and
there are days when I feel so afraid I can hardly remember to breathe. When reality crashes in wave after wave, pulling me further beneath. So what's the point in planning for a future if it all can be stolen away? It's all I can do to hold on and survive when the colors have faded to gray. But my children need so much more from me, and they give me the strength to go on. Whatever may come, all that matters now is where I go from here. There's an easier way if I live for today. The beating of my heart is all that matters. He makes sense of all of my chaos in ways I could never explain. He turns all of my sadness into a smile. He's helping me live life again. It's the light in the eyes of my children. It's the sound of their laughter once more. It's a glimpse of a life I dared only to dream, and a dream only life could restore. And I know that some may not understand, but he's guiding me safely to shore. Not afraid anymore. All that matters now is where I go from here. There's an easier way if I live for today. Singing in my heart is all that matters. It takes me far
I'm Anita Laws, and I belong to a dancing group called the Primetime Performers. We've been part of the opening ceremonies for the 15 years I've belonged to them.
Alice Shaku Black. I think it's an honor and a privilege to be able to be in this ceremony. I love the camaraderie. I love honoring the athletes because most people's perception of seniors is not what happens at the senior games. I have so much respect for the athletes and what they do. And I love that I'm able to wear a flag that honors my father because he was born in France.
It is such a fun event. We have so much fun doing it, representing the countries, and it really is easy, but beautiful waving those flags. They really do look like butterflies.
I see another who is different from me, but we all belong to a family. Dark skin, light skin, brown eyes, blue. It's what's inside that should matter to you.
I started about a month ago, even before our first rehearsal here, to motivate them on why to care about it. And a lot of times it's not because kids don't want to care, it's because they just don't know enough about it.
A lot of, I think, thought and creativity and just imagination on, our resources from this community, all the kids we use in our cast, and just coming up with different, new, innovative ways to entertain the seniors.
Every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake.
And so for them to look up to the athletes and understand what they bring to our community, once they're inspired, it's easy from there. Because every time that we do this, ceremonies, the opening ceremonies, the students change. They become more aware of life. Their dreams get bigger. They think back past their 20s and 30s, and they think, what do I want to do by the time I'm 70 and 80? And I think by them looking in that broad spectrum, by the athletes being examples to them, makes my job easier and just more joyful.